Makmoud Khalil, the Columbia University student agitator and Algerian citizen, at the center of a high-profile deportation fight with the Trump administration.
This is Truth Decryptor with an explosive update on Makmoud Khalil, the Columbia student caught in a wild legal battle trying to dodge deportation despite serious accusations from the Trump administration. The courts are in chaos, and Khalil's evasive answers about Hamas only add fuel to the fire. Let's break this down together.
Hitting the media circuit, enjoying the spotlight since his release from ICE custody in June. Wasn't this guy deported? ICE officials arresting Khalil, who has a student visa and a green card, in March. The Trump administration seeking to remove him under a law that states, quote, an alien whose presence or activities in the U.S. the Secretary of State has reasonable ground to believe would have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the United States is deportable. Secretary of State Marco Rubio making that determination about Khalil, given his role in the Columbia University Apartheid Divest Group. Khalil worked as a student negotiator for that organization, which reportedly sympathizes with terror groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, calling for the end of Western civilization. This as it occupied Columbia's campus, setting up an encampment and seizing academic buildings, demanding the university cut ties with Israel or else. The State Department also arguing Khalil was dishonest on his visa application, accusing him of omitting past work with the Hamas-linked UN Relief and Works Agency.
This reveals the depth of the deception. He allegedly hid ties to a Hamas-linked group to obtain his green card. That's not just paperwork errors, it's a national security red flag.
In order to secure his green card in the first place. Khalil's ICE arrest kicking off a multi-front legal battle as the government tries to deport this guy, and his team of lawyers pretend he has a legal right to stay here. Following his arrest, the DOJ transferring Khalil to an ICE detention center in Louisiana to await deportation. Khalil's legal team filing a separate case called a habeas corpus petition in a federal district court in New Jersey. That case was assigned to the Biden-appointed Michael Farbiage. A habeas proceeding challenges one's detention. This federal judge then ordering Khalil's release as his habeas case plays out. In addition, Judge Farbiaz attempting to rule that the immigration judge cannot deport Khalil based on Secretary Rubio's finding that Khalil is hurting U.S. foreign policy, which is an extraordinary ruling in that Khalil's deportation is up to the immigration courts. The federal district court should only be considering whether he's being properly detained in the meantime. Investigative journalist at The Federalist, Margot Cleveland, who has been closely tracking this story, walks us through this legal morass.
So you have the New Jersey judge whose lawsuit only involved a claim called habeas corpus, which dealt with whether he's detained or not. And you have that New Jersey judge now telling an immigration judge how to do his job. I really can't even express how bonkers it is. And the simple way to think of it is they're two totally separate cases. There is a normal process by which immigration cases are decided. It starts with the case going to an immigration judge. From there, it goes to the Board of Immigration Appeals. And from there, it goes to a circuit court, not a district court. His attorneys then went running back to the district judge in New Jersey, who has no power over immigration cases, and asked the judge to enter a revised preliminary injunction. And what the judge did is ordered the Trump administration to go to the immigration judge and say, you have to change your ruling. So as you can see, there are a lot of different machinations going on with the court in New Jersey and the immigration proceedings in Louisiana. But the bottom line is that the judge in New Jersey is acting completely beyond his jurisdiction and entering orders dictating what another judge, the immigration judge, can and cannot do.
The legal system is being weaponized by political actors, creating a dangerous precedent that could derail immigration law enforcement nationwide. This chaos benefits no one but those exploiting the loopholes.
In response, the Trump administration filing an appeal with the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, arguing this New Jersey district judge is way out of bounds.
There is no way that this New Jersey judge will be allowed to micromanage the immigration proceedings that are ongoing in Louisiana. That is so far beyond his authority, an authority that Congress expressly limited. So I think the Trump administration is very likely to win because they're right, just for the same reason that the Supreme Court has stayed and given Trump a victory in, I think, 12 of the 13 cases.
But even if the Third Circuit sides with the Trump administration, Cleveland says Khalil's deportation is still a long way off.
So right now, it's at the immigration stage, at the IG stage, then it goes to a Board of Immigration Appeals, and then it goes to the Fifth Circuit. And from the Fifth Circuit, he could seek to go to the Supreme Court. So this case and his deportation is very far off in the future. Now, the reason that his attorneys are fighting so hard is because they don't think they're going to win through the immigration case, because immigration courts have discretion that is very hard to challenge on appeal.
Cleveland saying this case is likely to have major ramifications on immigration proceedings besides Khalil's.
So this case is actually just one of many involving immigration proceedings that are wrongly being brought in federal district courts. We are seeing virtually every immigration case that would typically go through the process Congress set up, which is immigration judge, Board of Immigration Appeals, circuit case, instead being brought in district courts. That is a huge problem, and in fact, that's why Congress said that district court judges do not have jurisdiction, because it slows down this process. This case provides an opportunity for the federal appellate courts to make clear when the district courts do not have the power to wade into immigration issues.
As all of that drama plays out, Khalil now filing a claim seeking $20 million in damages against the Trump administration, which means the federal taxpayers, which could potentially lead to another lawsuit, claiming he was falsely imprisoned and smeared as an anti-Semite. In recent weeks, Khalil launching a full-blown media blitz, appearing across several friendly outlets, fielding questions from a typically fawning media. However, in mid-July, one CNN interview going slightly off the rails when Khalil was asked a very simple question.
Just to be clear here, though, do you specifically condemn Hamas, a designated terrorist organization in the United States?
Khalil's dodging this direct question underlines why so many believe he shouldn't be allowed to stay. His unwillingness to outright condemn Hamas screams allegiance far louder than words ever could.
It's not just for their actions on October 7th.
I condemn the killing of all civilians, full stop. But what I don't want to get into is no, I am very clear with condemning all civilians. I'm very straight in my position in that part. But it's disingenuous to ask about condemning Hamas while Palestinians are the ones being starved now by Israel.
But it is fair to ask you about whether you condemn Hamas, because the Trump administration has claimed that you are a Hamas sympathizer. So it's very important to actually ask that question in this broad conversation.
Yeah, I simply asked and protested the war in Palestine.
Doesn't seem like a hard question. Guess it was. The State Department says that answer should be disqualifying for a green card in and of itself. Professor Cleveland agrees.
I think that's pretty telling. And America should not be admitting people into the United States who will refuse to acknowledge a terrorist organization is a terrorist organization.
Makmoud Khalil's case is a ticking time bomb exposing systemic failures in our immigration and judicial system. From questionable visa practices to federal judges overstepping authority and a high-profile agitator refusing to denounce terrorism, this story is far from over. The Trump administration's fight could reshape immigration law, and taxpayers might foot the bill for Khalil's claims. Drop your take below. What does Khalil's battle say about America's priorities today?